Hi, Tanner. It's Matt Lewis. I hope you had a great weekend. I appreciate you talking to me on Friday about your future home purchase here in Utah. I wanted to send you this video to show you a couple of different options for your new home loan so that you can decide what's best for you and your family based on your individual loan scenario. Hopefully you can see my screen okay. If it's not, just let me know and I will be happy to find another way to send it to you. But anyways, here is an example of a traditional 5% down conventional loan, 30-year fixed. What I've done here is, if you see here at the 4% on a 30-year fixed, I'm just using 4% as just a nice even number. It's easy. We don't want to start going into, well, rates are 3.875, rates are 4 and 8. It's just a nice, easy, plain number just to work off of so that everything is just flows really well. So here on a 30-year fix at 4%, you'll see that your sales price is $190,000 with 5% down. So your loan amount is $180,500. This is just a software that I use to take an application. So we're just going to focus on this area right in here, and then this area right down here. So with 5% down and a 4% 30-year fix, this is your principal and interest payment of $861.73. Now, if you remember when we spoke on Friday, there is going to be some sort of, more than likely, a interior walls-in coverage with your purchase of your property. The HOA generally covers just the exterior of the building, but we call this a walls-in coverage, just exactly what it sounds like. If fire starts on the inside of the unit and burns out, this is a policy that covers the interior of your unit. That policy will run anywhere between like $150 to $250 a year. Just depends on location, price, what the HOA covers on the outside of the building. So for all intents and purposes, just going to use $20 a month. It's $240 a year. It's a nice number, again, just to use. Property taxes, estimating at $1,400 a year. Again, we know that on the listing for the MLS, the property taxes that are showing is just for the land. It's not for the building. So that's not what's going to be collected at closing. And this is your PMI, or your private mortgage insurance. Now, this number represents not only based on a loan amount, but a credit score. So lower the credit, and anything really, when I see lower the credit, is anything under 740, that PMI cost goes up. And also, the higher the loan amount, the PMI will go up. But at $190,000 with 5% down, the PMI ends up coming to be 61.67. So you'll see down here your total payment of $1,060.07. That does not include your HOA. We're just going to go off of principal and interest, taxes, and insurance. Now, here's an option that a lot of people have been choosing to do, is doing a no PMI loan. Now, people will tell you you need to put 20% down in order to avoid mortgage insurance. That's actually not a true statement. You can actually put down as little as 5% down and waive your mortgage insurance premium. And this is how you do it. So if you just remember this number, $1,060.07, okay? So I'm going to put on a calculator here, $1,060.07. Now what we do is we just bump up the rate just 1/4%. So instead of getting a 4%, you're now 4 1/4, and we waive the PMI altogether. Now, people will also say, well, I'm charging a higher interest rate. I wouldn't want to do that because over 30 years. Okay, so what we want to focus on is where you're actually going to be in the property, and you have to ask yourself this question. Are you going to be in this house for 30 years? More than likely, no. You're going to sell, you're going to refinance, or you're going to pay off the house early. Those are your three things you're going to do over 30 years. So we can't look at a 30-year mortgage as paying it for 30 years. Historically, people stay in the house for about 9.5 to 10 years. So we'll go off of 10 years, playing in the house for 10 years. So here is what your new payment is going to be doing lender-paid mortgage insurance. Higher rate, but no PMI. The new payment's $1,024.62. That's a difference of $35.45 a month. So going back to what I said on Friday, just because you have a higher rate doesn't mean you have a higher payment. As a matter of fact, this scenario, your rate's higher, but your overall payment is lower. If you look at an amortization schedule, okay, so if you make your payment for a full 30 years, PMI does not drop off till about year 7. Okay, that's 84 months. So if you're planning on being in the house longer than 7 years, it's more advantageous for you to pay PMI. But if you plan on being less than 7 years, then you'd want to do a lender paid mortgage insurance, because the reason why is you'll never recoup that difference of 35, 45 until that you're actually in the house and that PMI drops off. Now, there are ways you can drop the PMI off before that 7 years. You dispute it with the county records, you get into appraisal done, you dispute it with a lender. There are other ways. It's not like you have to sit there for 7 years and make your payment. If you add extra in a principal, that changes that too. So that's just a good idea based on the length of time that you're going to be in the house as a real good example. So what I also want to show to you is this. The seller, you mentioned to me, is not paying your closing costs. You're having to bring that in. So I want to show you actually what a fee worksheet looks like. And a fee worksheet is similar to a loan estimate. It shows the total costs associated with a loan. And so here, actually, you know what? Let me go into a loan estimate. It's actually a little bit easier to read. Actually, bear with me 1 second. Sorry. Print preview. Here we go. So this will be easy to read. So if you do the lender paid mortgage insurance or regular PMI, these numbers right here are not going to change, just so you know. They're all going to remain the same. So you'll see here the loan amount, the interest rate, the principal and interest, and then, you know, all your extra homeowners insurance and everything. Now, estimated closing costs, I'm estimating to be $3,480, and this is how it comes up to this number, which is actually a relatively low number. It's not even 2% of the purchase price. Over here is, in box A, is origination charges. Now, origination charges is just not origination fees, okay? 1% origination. It's actually all lender fees lumped together in that box. My only fee on my loans is my underwriting fee, which is $925. That's it. If you decide to buy down a rate, get a lower rate, you want to pay for that lower rate, that changes that number. But for all intents and purposes, that's the number is $925. Then under here, we have to have an appraisal. That's under box B. And then box C is all your title and closing fees. So title insurance essentially protects the lender in case of default. So basically, look at it this way. Title insurance is kind of like medical insurance. It protects against liens, judgments against a property. So a lender, when you get financing on a house, wants to remain in first lien position, right? You sell the house, refinance, or pay off the house. The lender wants to remain in first position. They want their money first, right? If you sell the house, they don't want to pay out any other claims that might be against the property. That's what title insurance does, is it basically protects the lender in that position to remain in first position. And so when you add up box A, B, and C, that's where that number of $23.99 comes into play. And then we've got your prepaids. That's your escrow account that pays your taxes and insurance. So when you buy a house, you're really prepaying your homeowner's insurance in advance. Remember that $20 a month? So $20 a month at 12 months is $240. And your prepaid interest, that is a daily interest that charges on your loan until your first payment is due. So for example, let's say we close on April the 15th. Your first payment is not due till June the 1st. So what will happen is under property taxes, 15 days, or excuse me, prepaid interest, we'll collect 15 days of prepaid interest. It's the day of the month that you close through the end of the month that pushes that first payment out. I just put one day. I don't know exactly what day you're going to be closing. I'm just assuming at the end of April. If it's at the 1st of April, obviously that number changes, but just so you know. And then under G, initial escrow payment at closing, that's for your taxes and your insurance. That builds your escrow account as well. So, for example, property taxes in Utah are due in November. When you close on a house, even though you don't have a mortgage payment due till June, April and May is going to be collected for your property taxes so that you're not delinquent in June, right? So there's those 2 months that you'd fall short. So what that does is it creates a cushion for you so to automatically pay your property taxes in November, which is nice. Now, the final under box H, under other, this number, I don't know exactly what the builder charges to transfer the HOA from the builder's name into your name. Not quite sure. I just use a really good example of what that should be, or at least close to what that number should be. So there's an HOA transfer fee and an HOA reinvestment fee. What the transfer fee is, again, transfers the builder's HOA from their name into yours. That's anywhere between $150, I've seen as high as $1,000, but the $1,000 end is more towards like high-rise condos in Salt Lake. You know, the HOA fee is like $500 a month. I would say somewhere around that $250 mark. And then an HOA reinvestment fee is going to be at least 3 months of HOA collected at closing in case you should ever fall short of HOA payments. And also, just like your homeowner's insurance and your property taxes, it creates a cushion because your first payment's not due when you close in April until June, but it collects that little cushion so that you don't fall short. So when I add in all these numbers together, that's where I'm coming up with $3,480. So your down payment of 5% is $9,500 plus $3,480, and I'm estimating this number to be $12,980. Now, here's another thing that you can do, and this is becoming more and more popular, is I have seen people do no-cost purchases. So meaning the only thing that you need to bring to close is your 5% minus any deposits that you put down, and then that's it. You don't have to bring any appraisal money, underwriting, title, escrow. Everything is paid for by the lender, and this is how we do it. So let's go back to the PMI. Here's your PMI, and let's say that you decide to do a no-cost loan. What we do is the same thing like a lender-paid mortgage insurance, is we just bump up the rate. Let's say it's usually about 0.25%, 4.25%. So your new payment's $1,086. But what I do is I actually lender credit to you at closing your closing costs. So what will happen is you'll see at closing a lender credit right here, adjustments and other credits and lender credits. You'll see actually a lender credit will say negative $3,480. That means that it's being subtracted out of what you need to bring to close. And now your cash to close is just your down payment minus, again, any credits or earnest money or deposits that you put down. That's a real big popular one because you got to look at it this way. Let's say, closing costs is that number, that $3,480, right? So it's $3,480. This payment compared to your old mortgage payment at 4%, so this is $1,086.29. And at 4%, 4%, your payment's $1,060.07. Okay, so it's a difference of $26.22. Now take that $26.22, and we're going to snooze to get out of there. So we're going to take that $26.22 and divide it by $3,480, and that is going to be your break-even point. 132 mortgage payments. 132 mortgage payments, 12 months out of the year, it's a little over 11 years. So you have to be in the property 11 years in order to recoup your closing costs. Probably not going to happen. So those are your options. You can do a traditional loan, 5% down with closing costs, or 5% down lender paid mortgage insurance, or 5% down, no closing costs. You just bring in your 5% minus any deposits or credits that you put down, and then there you go. It'd probably be best option C, but I'll leave that up to you. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Look forward to working with you. Hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.